Hello everyone, Sumu here, and welcome to the first part of my killer guides. Today I'll be covering everything about Trapper. His power, his perks, good builds, plus some general tips about gameplay, strats and trap placements. Let's get started. First, info about his power. Trapper carries with him by default 2 bear traps, which he can place down for survivors to step into. He cannot place traps in some slanted surfaces as well as too close to hooks. When the trapper sets a trap, it's active, meaning a survivor can interact with it in 2 ways, either disarm it by holding the interact button, or step on it, which will put them in the injured state and hold them in place for some time. Specifically, it takes 3.5 seconds to disarm a trap, and when you're trapped as a survivor, it takes 1.8 seconds to attempt escape, with 16.67% chance, which increases by 16.67% every attempt, with a maximum of 6 attempts. While a survivor is trapped, another survivor can rescue them, which takes 1.5 seconds. Additionally, the trapper can also step in his own traps, stunning him for 3 seconds, but keeping the trap armed. Moving on to his unique perks. First, Agitation. This perk allows you to carry survivors faster, and therefore farther. We'll come back to this when we're talking about builds for the Trapper. Second, Brutal Strength, which makes breaking pallets and walls and kicking generators 20% faster. Pretty basic. And last, Unnerving Presence, which increases the chances for skill checks for survivors in your terror radius. Plus makes those skill checks harder. Now for the main course, how to play Trapper. Note here that this is all based on my limited 3000 hour playtime, plus the never-ending DBD content I consume daily. Trapper is a territorial killer. As soon as you spawn in, you should look for a good 3 to 4 gen setup and do your best throughout the game to defend said setup. The more traps you can transfer to that area of the map during the match, the better results you're going to have. If your setup is close to the basement, that's even better, since Trapper can really work well around the basement, especially in shack and other closed buildings. You'll want to trap the stronger loops around your area, and there are 2 ways you can do this. Either fast and dirty, just throwing a trap under a window or a pallet. Make sure it's not directly in the middle of a pallet, because survivors can drop the pallet and ignore your trap, as well as not too close to a window, because if a survivor fast vaults, they can jump over your trap. It's weird, but it can happen. Or you can take a more sneaky approach and hide traps around loops. Hiding your traps significantly reduces the chances a survivor will find and disarm them, but it also lowers the chances someone will run through the trapped area. So you need to decide for each loop what trapping method would be the most effective. Lastly, don't be afraid to get stunned by pallets. You want to get rid of as many pallets as you can in your area. So don't try to big brain mind game every pallet, giving the survivor a chance to just leave, keeping the pallet up for when they need it the most. Note that you can't hide traps in maps with no grass, such as Eyrie of Crows, so you should focus on trapping strong structures instead. Now for my suggested builds on Trapper. For starters, we're going to look at a build I'd use myself, a build that works around Trapper's strengths and weaknesses. First of all, Agitation, one of his own perks. Agitation will allow you to bring survivors you downed outside of your area back into it, making it possible for you to continue defending said area, as well as making it easier to hook them in the basement, where Trapper is insanely hard to play against. To make this whole operation better, we're bringing in Pop Goes the Weasel. Even though it got nerfed this patch, it's still a strong way to protect gens in an area, as well as knock out a ton of progress at once. Instead of Pop, you could also bring Overcharge, but keep in mind that for Overcharge to do its thing, you'll need to keep the survivors around the gen busy long enough for the faster regression speeds to kick in. For the third perk, I like to use Brutal Strength, another one of Trapper's perks. Brutal will make your pallets disappear in no time, as well as saving you time when you kick a generator. Instead of Brutal, you can bring Call of Brine, which pairs very well with Overcharge, making gens regress very fast when you kick them. Last but not least, a personal favorite on Trapper, Save the Best for Last, will allow you to hit survivors very fast, and combined with well-placed traps, saving you a couple of stacks if you trap the Obsession, it can be a deadly weapon in disorienting survivors, because suddenly, you are immediately behind them, making them less likely to spot traps around them. Because I know that not everyone has all the perks unlocked, I'll suggest a build that only uses Trapper's own perks, as well as general killer perks you can find on your Bloodwebs right away. First, Agitation and Brutal Strength for the same reasons as above, but this time we will pair them with Jolt, which used to belong to Demogorgon but now is a general killer perk, and Hex, No One Escapes Death, for massive endgame pressure. This build might not be the best for Trapper, but it should get the job done. Remember, Trapper is a beast in 1v1 endgame scenarios, because he can trap both exit gates, making the survivor notify him of which door they are at. And there you have it, my guide on playing the Trapper. Do you have any questions, suggestions, or additions to this? Leave them down below for everyone to see. Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. We're gonna have a showcase of both of these builds probably tomorrow, so stay tuned. Bye bye.